Stay.
Sorry, we were waiting for WFM. We were waiting for somebody, but I don't think they showed up. Okay.
They're going to voicemail, so.
Okay, then we'll show you. Need me? What's wrong? Oh.
Just trying to connect this one.
Oh.
Put it right here, I guess.
Yeah, you want me to put it right here? I can put it right here. Will that go? How's that?
No.
No?
You understand? You understand?
No.
Okay.
Okay. As long as it doesn't fall over.
Okay.
Hopefully it doesn't blow over. Okay? We good?
Yeah, 1 second. Back record, and you're good.
Is my tie straight, by the way? Okay, you guys all good? Well, thanks. Great. Good morning. It's always good to be back at Newark Airport on the parking deck. We've been here before. It's nice and warm up here. I do want to thank Port Authority for their great work. I want to thank Law Enforcement, Port Authority, PBA, and all the law enforcement members who are here today as well. It's, we're back at one of the busiest airports in the United States of America and in the world, with the best of the best working in our terminals, on the runways, and in the towers like the one behind me. 20% of our nation's GDP runs through here, through the Northeast, in these arteries. So I want to thank all the federal workers who come here every single day, showing up day and night, despite the ongoing shutdown. As you know, we're in the middle of a shutdown, and the folks keep coming to work in the towers, the TSA security lines, and on the ground. On a good day, the people in the tower and all these other workers are under an immense amount of pressure to do a lot with what they're given. And now, given the shutdown, they're doing even more with fewer resources. That's right, because the far right, who controls the majority of the Congress, decided to shut the government down. Because of that, families are now facing rising health care costs. And all the federal workers here, air traffic controllers, TSA agents, and essential FAA staff aren't getting their paychecks. The president has even said that he might never give them their paychecks for the time during the shutdown. Let me say that again. The president has said that he's probably not going to pay folks even for the time they're working right now during the shutdown. That's unacceptable. So now, on top of the stress they're already dealing with in the towers or in the security lines, they're now wondering how they're going to pay their rent and mortgages. Yet, like so many other government workers, they're still showing up to keep our country and our economy running. Now, that's what all of my colleagues in Congress need to be doing, to show up in Washington and get the government reopened to protect our families. And after I'm done here, I'm going to the plane at the terminal and flying back to Washington. I've been there the last couple of weeks since the shutdown, showing up and doing everything we can to work together to get the government reopened. And I don't think this is any question, Mark. You know, to me, Democrats, Republicans should always figure out ways to sit at the table. Not point fingers, but just figure out how we're going to come up with a way to move forward here, both in the House and the Senate, to find a deal, get the government reopened. I've been on the phone around the clock and sitting in meetings with folks from across the aisle. But we need everyone back doing the same. We need the Speaker to bring the House back in session. As you probably know, right now, the House is out of session. It takes the Speaker of the House to call us back into session. And I'm calling on him to reopen the House. Make us come back every single day, everybody, to show up and sit at the table and work to get the government reopened. Why is this so important? Let's talk about what's at stake here. What has Democrats, many of us, been so focused on? If we don't act now, beginning November 1st, families will be faced with significantly higher health insurance premiums when they choose a plan during open enrollment. That open enrollment begins November 1st. That's just a couple weeks away. And if things aren't settled, if we don't work this out, a family of 4 in New Jersey, on average, who takes ACA premium tax credits, who gets help, will have their premiums go up $20,000 a year. That's beginning next year. I want to repeat that. We're talking about $20,000 increase in premiums if we don't do what we should do and extend the ACA tax premiums. Those are the tax credits that we give support for to help people pay for their insurance premiums, to give a little help for them. They're in place right now, but they expire at the end of this year. And beginning November 1st, people are going to have open enrollment and have to make those choices. And if we don't fix this, you're talking about a significant increase in health care costs beginning next year. That's unacceptable with what people are facing already with higher grocery bills and child care costs and all the tariffs and energy bills. It's just too expensive. So why would we do anything except get health care costs down and make sure we fight this fight? If the Affordable Care Premium Tax Credits expire, millions of Americans will no longer have access to that critical health care that they rely on. Because there's clear numbers about this. 22 million Americans will see higher health insurance premiums beginning January 1st, right off the bat. And again, they'll find out about this on November 1st of what's going to hit them next year. Nearly 200,000 people in New Jersey will lose their health care altogether because they just won't be able to afford these higher premiums. To be clear, children who rely on life-saving medications, seniors on fixed incomes, families who are already struggling with higher costs will be forced off their insurance because of these hikes in premiums. My friends on the other side of the aisle so far don't seem to think this is a major priority. Well, it is. I talk to folks all the time, whether you're in a diner at the airport here, and they make it pretty clear. They're struggling. They're trying to make it work. Healthcare is already up double digits year over year, these premiums. I'm sure you know it, you feel it, everyone feels it. It's too damn expensive, and we got to help people. That's all we're trying to do here. Reopen the government and actually get health insurance premiums down. Now, last Thursday, just to recap what we're dealing with here at Newark Airport because of the shutdown. Last Thursday, flights here at Newark Airport experienced ground delays of 88 minutes because of low air traffic control staffing numbers, according to the FAA. Before the shutdown, air traffic controller shortages drove about 5% of all the delays. No problem, man. There you go. Before the shutdown, air traffic controller shortages drove about 5% of all flight delays. Now air traffic control staffing issues account for 53% of all delays. In other words, the shutdown's having an impact. It's having an impact on flights, on cancellations, on delays, and on families, and of course, people doing business. It's affecting our economy. This is not like something that you just decide isn't important and say, let's shrug our shoulders and not worry about it. We're talking about our economy. We're talking about families. We're talking about getting this airport moving the way it should be. Even before the shutdown, the towers have been short-staffed, as you know. We've gotten together and talked about that before, with controllers working long hours on outdated equipment, creating the perfect storm for delays, hitting right here in Newark. In fact, Newark was the third most delayed airport in the country for the first half of this year. So now imagine what these numbers are going to be as the delays pile up. Across the country, because of the shutdown, staffing has been getting worse, creating more delays for travelers. Last week, 12 FAA facilities were understaffed in America, including airports in Texas, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Florida, and New York, and right here in Newark. Nearly 40,000 flights were delayed across our country last week alone. That's because, largely, the shutdown is having a real impact. Last year, nearly 146 million passengers flew in and out of the New Jersey, New York metro area, a new record. Our region literally can't afford more delays. Families losing those precious hours at the airport, businessmen and women, time away from loved ones, and flight delays are estimated to cost airline travelers billions of dollars every year. That hurts our families and our economy, and our region is really hurt as well, when you got 20% of the economy, the GDP, running through here. In a shutdown, the FAA ATC training schools funding is also a risk. That's where we train the next generation of FAA workers. As of right now, it's only funded until October 29th. That means our airports will have a harder time getting more certified ATCs in the towers, like the one behind me, to help reduce and prevent more delays. Fewer air traffic controllers if we don't keep training them because of this shutdown. As I mentioned, our system for managing air traffic is incredibly old and needs to be updated. When the old equipment fails, as it has in the past, it causes more delays. Yet, according to the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, funding to upgrade critical infrastructure at airports like this one and across the country will be frozen as long as government remains shut down. So you got fewer people because they're not getting trained. You've got problems in the tower in terms of upgrading equipment because of the shutdown. And we got delays and cancellations across the country at airports, including here, because of the shutdown. It's unacceptable. We all got to get back to the table today, have the House reopen, call everyone back in, sit down, and don't leave until this is done. Government shutdowns are no way to run a railroad or an airport. More than 250,000 veterans in New Jersey have lost access to critical counseling and career transition assistance. More than 50,000 seniors in Jersey will lose access to Meals on Wheels. That's where they get food every week. And mothers and infants will lose access to food at the end of the month because of WIC, which helps nearly 7 million Americans across the country, and 160,000 in New Jersey will run out of cash. That means no food for infants who really rely on these dollars and food every day. Because of the shutdown and the president's threats, $18 billion from key infrastructure projects around the tri-state area, including the Gateway train tunnel, is at risk, along with other key projects around the country: roads, bridges, water, rail, sewer projects, all frozen, all because of the shutdown. This makes no sense, and every day that ticks by, it's getting worse. So, when you talk about things like military projects being put on hold, federal law enforcement not getting paid, who keep our communities safe, operations being slowed down, none of this makes any sense. Thousands of years of lost productivity. The White House said the shutdown will cost our country $15 billion in lost GDP every week, and it gets worse every week. This is common sense. So first, here's what I'm calling on, and why I'm here today: to call on President Trump and congressional leadership to help us end the chaos. Look what we did in the Middle East yesterday. There's no reason why we can't solve this problem too. First, so I'm headed back to Washington right now to do everything we can to get a deal done. We all should be there every week. As I said, the Speaker needs to call us back into session and be there until we figure out how to extend the Affordable Care Act, tax credits on health insurance premiums, and make life more affordable for people, and reopen the government. I've been working with my colleagues in the House and the Senate, Republicans and Democrats, to find a way to reopen the government in a responsible way. But we need everybody there. We shouldn't be out a single week until we figure this out. It's ridiculous. The American people deserve better. Second, I'm sending a letter to congressional leadership today in both the House and the Senate, asking them to outline the massive impacts the shutdown is having on our families, our seniors, our veterans, our airports, our infrastructure, our economy, and of course, to travelers around the country who are just trying to make their planes on time. And I'm asking the Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, to detail to Congress just how much this shutdown is costing taxpayers and its impact on families. The White House gave us their point of view, $15 billion a week. I think it could even be more. And the American people should understand, by sector and by American, what this shutdown is doing and the impact it's having on them. And the Speaker, again, won't even call us back. I'll keep saying it. He's got to bring us back into session. Democrats are flying back today, like me. The House Republicans should join us. This is not about pointing fingers. This is just about sitting down, solving problems like I like to do, and get things done. Finally, we know that we need to keep the country running and support the people who help make that happen. That means supporting the folks here at TSA screening and in the towers behind me and in airports across our country. More than 13,000 air traffic controllers around the United States are working without pay right now. They're working and they don't know if they're getting paid. They don't know if they're going to ever get paid for the work they're doing. They don't know if they're going to be able to pay their rent or their mortgages. So I'm helping lead the Aviation Funding Stability Act to ensure that we pay FAA workers during a government shutdown. The last thing we need is more stress on their heads right now, given what they do. We got to do this and get it done now. I'm also joining a congressional effort to call on the federal government to ensure back pay for all federal workers. Our more than 11,000 furloughed staff members of the FAA and other critical employees deserve to get paid. You can't stiff people because Congress can't get it together. President Trump has threatened to not pay them. They got to get paid. By the way, I've told the Treasury Department not to pay me during the shutdown because the bottom line is I shouldn't be getting paid if they're not getting paid. The bottom line is you can't screw over aviation workers, service members, first responders, veterans, seniors, children, you name it, because of the shutdown. Families are already struggling. We've got to do everything we can to make life more affordable. And in the greatest country the world's ever known, there's no reason if we sit down, Democrats or Republicans, there's no reason why we can't figure this out and ensure that our best days will be ahead of us. Thanks so much, and God bless. Questions?
Do you have any idea how many federal workers are here in New Jersey as a whole? TSA, those furloughed, those civilians. Any idea the numbers here in our state?
No, but I'll get you I don't want to give you a number. I have the number. I just don't have it off the top of my head, but I'll make sure I get it over to you right away, okay? We have that number. Okay, you got it.
I'm going to ask you the same question we asked Sean Duffy when he was here last week.
Yeah.
Polling so far generally has shown that more Americans say that the shutdown is the responsibility of the president and the Republicans in Congress. Fewer say it's because of Democrats in Congress. I was looking at your reaction to that, and how long do you think this kind of, as it were, goodwill for Democrats can last? And how is this an attempt to keep that goodwill going?
Well, first of all, I don't think we should ever shut the government down, right? So I don't think it looks good for anyone in the country when we shut the government down. It's not good for America either, and it costs us dearly, as I was talking about. But I think what's pretty clear here is what we're fighting for and what's on the line. And I think this is what Americans are seeing. It's about health care. You have a date that you can't push back, right? It's a looming date. It's sitting there. And if we don't act right now, we know what's going to happen. Like November 1st, enrollment opens up. People are getting notice of what it's going to cost them to have health care next year, and they're making decisions based on what they can afford or not afford, right? And as a result, we know that millions of people, right, 22 million Americans across the country will see their premiums go up. That's what's going to happen. 4 million are going to say, I can't afford this at all, including hundreds of thousands in New Jersey, and are going to leave healthcare altogether. I think people look at this and say, this seems pretty simple. Just let's vote to extend these health insurance premiums to give support to people so they can pay their health care. All we're asking for is exactly what they're getting right now. Literally the help and premiums they're getting right now, because everybody knows if we don't get this, it's not just people on the ACA, but everyone's health insurance prices will go up around the country. Everyone's going to suffer. So all we're saying to people is, hey, we're just trying to figure out health insurance premiums and make them more affordable for you. I think people get that. It's why you're seeing some of the numbers you're seeing. And I think we could easily do both. Open the government and continue these health insurance tax credits to make premiums less expensive for people. We can do both, and I think people are seeing that. And the more this goes on, the worse the picture looks, I think, for them. But I'm not, as I keep saying, I don't want to sit here and point fingers. I just really just want to get it done, which is why I'm going back. It's why I was on the phone last night. It's why I've been in meetings with people from both sides, because I think we can do this if we put our minds together, stop playing politics with it and saying, are you winning? Are you winning? And actually just get it done and not worry about who's up and who's down every day.
It seems to me that you're here because we're not getting any closer. It's been a couple of weeks almost.
A couple of weeks, 14 days.
Not getting any closer. What can you tell the American people, our residents, who have hope?
I think there's been a lot of really constructive ideas being sent back and forth. And so I'm hopeful. I think we'll get it done. We just got to keep at it. I've always, you probably know whether it was the infrastructure deal or during the pandemic, during the PACT Act for veterans, it's always appeared things get stuck. I've been involved in many of these other shutdowns and continuing resolutions. We're trying to fund the budget and fund the government, and it always darkest before the dawn. We get it done, but it's really frustrating. And the back and forth is really frustrating, but you just got to keep going and not give up. And we'll get it done. And, I'm not willing, again, I think, but I think the only way you really get it done and put all effort behind it is it actually showing up. When people go back home and they're not focused on it every day, members of Congress, there's less there's less urgency for them. That's why you got to be there, you got to sit at the table, even if you're frustrated, you just got to keep going. So I'm hopeful we'll get it done. That's why I'm going back today.
Although it's not officially back in session until the 19th.
Right. Right. I'm going back. Right.
Behind, the scenes and,
well, I don't ever negotiate in public, but I'll just say that we're working incredibly hard, a bunch of us, Democrats and Republicans, to try to figure out a way forward. You've seen a bunch of Republicans come out and say we should at least do 1 year of extension of the Affordable Care Act tax credits. There was, I think, 25 people total on a bill that's calling for that right now. And I think that's a good signal. We should do at least, I mean, frankly, I think a year is not enough because we're going to be back in the soup in a few months. But we got to do something to extend this out to help people. And again, we're looking at a tough clock right now because November 1st, enrollment for next year opens up. We've got to figure this out at the latest then, but we don't have a lot of time because, you know, you're looking at a clock that's getting louder and louder, and then you got problems like here at the airport that are happening every day. So you're dealing with health insurance, you're dealing with a lot of federal workers that aren't getting paid, and it's affecting our workforce and our economy around the country.
So what exactly is missing? Is the president going to be what exactly is going to happen?
So I'll meet with the president anytime he wants to. I know many of us have said, you know, let's sit down. And again, yesterday was a great day for America and for our American leadership getting the hostages out. And if we could do Middle East peace and lead the way, there's no reason why we can't solve this problem. And that's what I believe. Like, you can solve health care and the insurance premiums if you could solve Middle East peace and get the hostages out. And so what do I like? You know, I think we should do it. I'm hoping the White House invites us over. Well, you know, I'll go there this afternoon if they offer.
Sean Duffy also said that even though the Republicans control the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives,
Yeah.
it is still, the onus is still on the Democrats to come to them and stop, I don't remember the exact word he used, but to get out of the way and to allow Congress to reopen immediately and then talk about health care. What would your reaction be to that?
Yeah, well, there's this view of some that we should just punt on this health care question. And I don't, you can't do that because then the health care will never happen. We're out of time. And so I've said pretty clearly, I'm good with, by the way, today, and I would tell Sean this if I saw him, I'm good if you reopen the government and extend these health care premiums. You get a vote today to do it. Give us time on these health care premiums to extend them so people's insurance premiums don't go up in a few weeks, and open the government. I'll do that today. You know, I don't understand why these things can't be done. We've made the offer, but I think Sean should look at the Constitution. They have the majority in the House, the Senate, and the White House. They are in charge. They today could say, go ahead, let's do this, and this will be a done deal. We can make this work. It's incredibly frustrating, but again, I'm ready to meet with anybody, as I've continued to do. I'm ready to go to the White House today, and let's get this done. I keep saying, you know, yesterday was a great day of progress for our country. We showed great American leadership. Let's do it again today and help the American people get their premiums down and afford health care and get these airports moving the way they should be and help people out across the board. People are getting crushed between tariffs, between child care costs, between their energy bills. People are getting decimated right now. The idea that their health insurance premiums would go up even more than they've already gone up is brutal for them. This is a no-brainer, and I can't figure out why any Republican would not want to fix this and help folks out. $20,000 a year increase in premium they're facing if we don't solve this right now. Families in Jersey, a family of 4. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's why millions of people are going to lose their health care because they're just not going to be able to afford it. Anything else? Okay, guys, sorry that it's cold out here. I'll try not to do this in the winter. Thanks. See you guys. Thanks so much.